World War II in the Slovene lands started in April 1941 and lasted until May 1945. The Slovene lands were in a unique situation during World War II in Europe. In addition to being trisected, a fate which also befell Greece, Drava Banovina was the only region that experienced a further step. Absorption and annexation into neighboring Nazi Germany, Fascist Italy, and Hungary. The Slovene settled territory was divided largely between Nazi Germany and Fascist Italy. With smaller territories occupied and annexed by Hungary and the independent state of Croatia. On April 6, 1941, Yugoslavia was invaded by the Axis powers. On that day, part of the Slovene settled territory was occupied by Nazi Germany. On April 11, 1941, further parts of the territory were occupied by Fascist Italy and Hungary. The Germans occupied the upper Carniola, the lower Styria. The northwestern part of Prekmurje and the northern part of the lower Carniola. The Italians occupied the inner Carniola, the majority of the lower Carniola and Ljubljana, whereas the Hungarians occupied the major part of Prekmurje, which prior to World War I belonged to Hungary. Resistance by the Kingdom of Yugoslavia's army was insignificant. The Germans had a plan of the forced location of the Slovene population in the so-called Grand Triangle. around the area of the southeastern Slovenian town Brezis. The area was the border area towards the Italian occupation zone. Compared to the German policies in the northern Nazi-occupied area of Slovenia and the forced fascist Italianization in the former Austrian littoral annexed after the First World War, the initial Italian policy in the central Slovenia was not as violent. Tens of thousands of Slovenes from German-occupied Lower Styria and Upper Carniola escaped to the province of Ljubljana until June 1941. World War II in the Slovene lands lasted until the middle of May 1945.
The German invasion of Greece, or Operation Marita, were the attacks on Greece by Italy and Germany during World War II. The Italian invasion in October 1940. Which is usually known as the Greco-Italian War, was followed by the German invasion in April 1941. German landings on the island of Crete came after Allied forces had been defeated in mainland Greece. These battles were part of the Greater Balkans Campaign of the Axis powers and their associates. Following the Italian invasion on October 28, 1940, Greece, with British air and material support, repelled the initial Italian attack and a counterattack in March 1941. When the German invasion, known as Operation Marita, began on April 6, the bulk of the Greek army was on the Greek border with Albania. Then a vassal of Italy, from which the Italian troops had attacked. German troops invaded from Bulgaria, creating a second front. Greece received a small reinforcement from British, Australian and New Zealand forces in anticipation of the German attack. The Greek army found itself outnumbered in its effort to defend against both Italian and German troops. As a result, the Metaxas defensive line did not receive adequate troop reinforcements and was quickly overrun by the Germans. Who then outflanked the Greek forces at the Albanian border, forcing their surrender. British, Australian and New Zealand forces were overwhelmed and forced to retreat. With the ultimate goal of evacuation. For several days, Allied troops played an important part in containing the German advance on the Thermopylae position. Allowing ships to be prepared to evacuate the units defending Greece. The German army reached the capital, Athens, on April 27 and Greece's southern shore on April 30. Capturing 7,000 British, Australian and New Zealand personnel and ending the battle with a decisive victory. The conquest of Greece was completed with the capture of Crete a month later, following its fall. Greece was occupied by the military forces of Germany, Italy, and Bulgaria. To enter northern Greece, the German army had to cross the Rhodope Mountains, which offered few river valleys or mountain passes capable of accommodating the movement of large military units. Two invasion courses were located west of Kestendel. Another was along the Yugoslav-Bulgarian border, via the Struma River Valley to the south. Greek border fortifications had been adapted for the terrain and a formidable defense system covered the few available roads. The Struma and Nestos rivers cut across the mountain range along the Greek-Bulgarian frontier, and both of their valleys were protected by strong fortifications. As part of the larger Metaxas line, this system of concrete pillboxes and field fortifications constructed along the Bulgarian border in the late 1930s, was built on principles similar to those of the Maginot Line. Its strength resided mainly in the inaccessibility of the intermediate terrain leading up to the defense positions. At dawn on April 6, the German armies invaded Greece, while the Luftwaffe began an intensive bombardment of Belgrade. The 40th Panzer Corps began their assault at 5:30. They pushed across the Bulgarian frontier into Yugoslavia at two separate points. By the evening of April 8, the 73rd Infantry Division captured Prilep, severing an important rail line between Belgrade and Thessaloniki and isolating Yugoslavia from its allies. On the evening of April 9, Stum deployed his forces north of Monastir, in preparation for attack toward Florina. This position threatened to encircle the Greeks in Albania and W force in the area of Florina, Edessa, and Katerini. While weak security detachments covered his rear against a surprise attack from central Yugoslavia. Elements of the 9th Panzer Division drove westward to link up with the Italians at the Albanian border. The 2nd Panzer Division, 18th Mountain Corps entered Yugoslavia from the east on the morning of April 6 and advanced westward through the Strumica Valley. It encountered little resistance, but was delayed by road clearance demolitions, mines and mud. Nevertheless, the division was able to reach the day's objective, the town of Strumica. On April 7th, a Yugoslav counterattack against the division's northern flank was repelled. And the following day, the division forced its way across the mountains and overran the thinly manned defensive line of the Greek 19th Mechanized Division south of Doiran Lake. Despite many delays along the mountain roads, an armored advance guard dispatched toward Thessaloniki succeeded in entering the city by the morning of April 9th. Thessaloniki was taken after a long battle with 3 Greek divisions under the command of General Bakopoulos, and was followed by the surrender of the Greek Eastern Macedonia Army Section. Taking effect at 1300 hours on April 10th. In the 3 days it took the Germans to reach Thessaloniki and breach the Metaxas line, some 60,000 Greek soldiers were taken prisoner. The Germans had to break the Metaxas line in order to capture Thessaloniki, Greece's second largest city and a strategically important port. The attack started on April 6 with 1 infantry unit and 2 divisions of the 18th Mountain Corps. Due to strong resistance, the first day of the attack yielded little progress in breaking the line. A German report at the end of the first day described how the German 5th Mountain Division was repulsed in the Rupel Pass despite strongest air support and sustained considerable casualties. 2 German battalions managed to get within 600 feet of Fort Rupel on April 6, but were practically destroyed. Of the 24 forts that made up the Metaxas line, only 2 had fallen and only after they had been destroyed. In the following days, the Germans pummeled the forts with artillery and dive bombers and reinforced the 125th Infantry Regiment. Finally, a 7,000 feet high snow-covered mountainous passage considered inaccessible by the Greeks was crossed by the 6th Mountain Division, which reached the rail line to Thessaloniki on the evening of April 7. German SS troops seized Vevey on April 11, but were stopped at the Klity Pass just south of town. During the next day, the SS regiment reconnoitered the Allied positions and at dusk launched a frontal attack against the pass. Following heavy fighting, the Germans broke through the defense. By the morning of April 14th, the spearheads of the 9th Panzer Division reached Kozani. On April 14th, the 9th Panzer Division established a bridgehead across the Haliakman River. An attempt to advance beyond this point was stopped by intense Allied fire. This defense had three main components: the Platamon tunnel area between Olympus and the sea, the Olympus Pass itself, and the Servia Pass to the southeast. By channeling the attack through these three defile, the new line offered far greater defensive strength. The defences of the Olympus and Servia passes consisted of the 4th New Zealand Brigade, 5th New Zealand Brigade and the 16th Australian Brigade. For the next 3 days, the advance of the 9th Panzer Division was stalled in front of these resolutely held positions. On the morning of April 18th, the Battle of Tempe Gorge, the struggle for the Panayos Gorge, which was subsequently dispersed. On April 19th, the 1st 18th Mountain Corps troops entered Larissa and took possession of the airfield, where the British had left their supply dump intact. The seizure of 10 truckloads of rations and fuel enabled the spearhead units to continue without ceasing. The port of Volos, at which the British had re-embarked numerous units during the prior few days, fell on April 21st. There, the Germans captured large quantities of valuable diesel and crude oil. As the invading Germans advanced deep into Greek territory, the Epirus army section of the Greek army operating in Albania was reluctant to retreat. By the middle of March, especially after the Tepelin offensive, the Greek army had suffered, according to British estimates, 5,000 casualties, and it was fast approaching the end of its logistical tether. The Germans drove straight to the Acropolis and raised the Nazi flag. On April 13, 1941, Hitler issued Directive No. 27, including his occupation policy for Greece. He finalized jurisdiction in the Balkans with Directive No. 31 issued on June 9. Mainland Greece was divided between Germany, Italy and Bulgaria, with Italy occupying the bulk of the country. German forces occupied the strategically more important areas of Athens, Thessaloniki, Central Macedonia and several Aegean islands, including most of Crete.
They also occupied Florina, which was claimed by both Italy and Bulgaria. The Bulgarians occupied territory between the Struma River and a line of demarcation running through Alexandroupoli and Svilengrad west of the Evros River. Italian troops started occupying the Ionian and Aegean Islands on April 28. On June 2nd, they occupied the Peloponnese, on June 8, Thessaly, and on June 12, most of Attica. The occupation of Greece, during which civilians suffered terrible hardships, many dying from privation and hunger, proved to be a difficult and costly task. Several resistance groups launched guerrilla attacks against the occupying forces. The occupation of Greece, during which civilians suffered terrible hardships, many dying from privation and hunger, proved to be a difficult and costly task. Several resistance groups launched guerrilla attacks against the occupying forces and set up espionage networks. The Greek campaign ended with a complete German and Italian victory. The British did not have the military resources to carry out large simultaneous operations in both North Africa and the Balkans. After the Allies' defeat, the decision to send British forces into Greece faced fierce criticism in the United Kingdom,